So listen up, guys. We, you know the treat we have to start off today's session. I'll start, Mike. I don't have to do too much intro of who they are to you because you and I have talked about it before. And you know the YTAC program, what it was over the summer. This one is bigger, right? This one is not just bigger as it relates to number of participants. We have almost 100 in here. Great diverse mix. Nearly 70% are people of color. Almost 20% are female. You know, numbers and stats that we pay close attention to in tech and esports and all of those things. And they're also spread geographically from Charlotte and Wilmington and Philly. So it's been a great group. This is day 4, and we're real excited about a lot of the things we've been doing from STEM all the way to esports practice. They have a great competition going on tonight. So you know that side. Mm-hmm. A lot of the kids here know who you are as well, but I've prepared a quick highlight reel that I've found on YouTube just to make sure these guys, most of which were born in the last 3 years, understand exactly what we've got in store for us right now. So here you go. I'm going to share my sound, and I'm going to take you guys here down a quick memory lane. We're going to start right here in 2008, November.
That's really
Hastr0. You might not have seen this in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
MLG Championship run. We go to 2010, September upload. Check this out. I just saw this and I thought this was pretty cool. Little gameplay here.
Capture the objectives.
I was much better then than I am now, but it's always fun watching some old Call of Duty videos.
I thought this was pretty cool. 2011, February.
Oh, who's sniping? Hastr0 pulling out the sniper. That's what we're going to be concentrating on for the next couple of wins. I got to tell you right now, he's putting up his sensitivity. Go Hastr0, pulling out the sniper, baby!
Oh, Stro missing the shot. Getting the cleanup.
This is exactly why they need to regulate. Oh! Hastr0 going big, crowd going wild.
This one, Evolved 2011, showing you coaching, right?
Is that trees? Help me out.
With your team. Now you've evolved into the coaching position.
Did you get trees?
Yep.
Nice W there. And then finally, as we're going to talk to you today, I think this kind of sets the stage. A little bit of
welcome back. It's the Bud Light Dallas homestand, and we are now joined by a very special guest, an esports legend, and a man who helped make events like today possible. Give it up. It's the Dallas Fuel team owner, Mr. Hastr0. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great today, actually.
You tired yet? It's only been 15 hours.
I'm a little tired, but it was all worth it. It was an incredible event today here in Dallas, and I think you guys experienced a little bit of that as well. So.
We had an amazing time. You had a sold-out audience here for your first ever event in Dallas.
Everyone's in here for different reasons, but they all love esports, love coding, or getting to that point. And to see over a decade of your own evolution, just to sit here and have you be able to tell them a little bit about what your life was like as an esports professional, as a coach, as an owner, as an entrepreneur, as they're at a point in their lives and careers where they're going to be making decisions. And I thought this would be an amazing opportunity. We really appreciate you joining us. And with that, let me hand it over to you and chat with these nearly 100 amazing folks that are part of the YTAC program.
Yeah, sure. So can you guys hear me okay? All good on the mic? Okay. Yep. Head nodding is good when I ask you guys questions because I can see about 20 of you on my screen right now. So good to see all of you. My name is Mike Rufail, also known as Hastr0. I am a professional esports team owner, and what we do as a company is we really operate very similar to how traditional sports teams have operated. So think if you guys are in your areas, think the Eagles or the Panthers or You know, if you're North Carolina, the Panthers. So, you know, professional sports teams that are sports entertainment companies. And we are effectively kind of taking a little bit of that tradition that they created in sports entertainment, but applying this whole new world of game design and technology and gaming, whether it be on console, PCs, mobile, you name it. We incorporate a lot of the gaming industry culture into our business and our company, and with the people who follow our teams and who are watching streamers and YouTubers and so on. And so we really are a sports and entertainment company operating in the video game industry. And it's been a long road. I initially started off where it was just for fun. It was just a hobby for me, right? And I played Call of Duty a lot. It was just a fun game for me to play. But pretty quickly, I realized I was one of the best players in the world because of the in-game ranking systems they had. This is back in like 2006, so almost 15 years ago. And they had these in-game ranking systems that told me I was one of the best players in the world. So I started to get a little more passionate about it. So I wonder if I could compete in organized competition. So I went out and started finding tournaments to play in, and eventually started winning those pretty quickly. And eventually people started following that because there's an audience there. A lot of people were playing Call of Duty. And so we effectively built a business out of people watching us play video games. And a lot of advertisers and sponsors started coming on board. And from there, I was able to get relationships with the game publishers and, you know, started traveling the entire world, going to take our teams to compete. We would contract players just like any professional sports team would. But at the same time, I've also worked as an advisor to the game publishers to develop esports features in the games. So what are esports features? They effectively are features that make the game be able to be played competitively and watched. So I spent a lot of time working actually at Activision Blizzard. I designed the Codcaster mode. So anytime you're ever watching a Call of Duty match in Call of Duty Esports, I designed those features, the layout of the screen and the way you're able to watch a spectator mode as a spectator and watch these competitive professional Call of Duty players play. And I've also advised studios and publishers like Epic Games, 343 Studios. There have been quite a few publishers that I've given knowledge to and helped out to make esports better. So the path that you all are on right now is very important. I'll tell you guys, one of my secrets to happiness in life was that I found what I was passionate about, right? I found gaming was my passion, and I enjoyed it so much. Like whatever it is that you guys enjoy on a day-to-day basis, it sounds like a lot of you are interested in technology and going down that path. If you're really passionate about something within that space, something specific, go for it. Don't wait. Start right away, taking whatever makes you happy. That, you know, if you enjoy doing it, if it's a game to you, if it's a hobby or fun, or you're just completely interested in it and you just want to learn as much as you can about a subject, don't wait. Just start doing it. Pick something now when you guys are at this point in your life, because the faster you start, it doesn't matter if you're good at it right now, by the way. The faster you start, you're going to give yourself all that extra time to make mistakes and learn from them, or to just get better and more experienced at what you're doing. And eventually you'll be kind of a young prodigy because you started so early on. So I feel like that gave me a huge advantage, starting so early on with my passion and just working towards it every single day, not really slowing down because it was fun for me. And eventually I kind of came to the top of my industry because of that, because other people really weren't willing to work as hard as I was because they didn't love what they were doing as much as I did. So find that one thing. I think that's my best advice that you guys are really interested in, and start doing it. If it's video editing, if it's coding, if it's photography, if it's art design, whatever it is that you guys want to do, start it now. I don't know how much more you want me to go into detail here, Tarek, but I'd love to have questions asked.
Yeah, look, I want to start with one, and then I want everyone to be thinking of what question they might like to ask you, and then we'll just keep it conversational. But one of the things we've been really working and emphasizing in this first week has been, I think, right in the vein of what you just said, which is, there can be non-traditional paths and things you're passionate about that lead you to a career. But I think you kind of alluded to it. It's one, just about starting to do it and sticking with it. But two, there's a lot of hard work and self-teaching and learning and soaking up and practicing. Like what would be your advice to them based on your own experience, whether their path ends up being gaming or coding and STEM related stuff, or college, or entering the workforce, in like tips and tricks and ways to keep yourself interested and holding yourself accountable and doing that work to get you to that level?
Yeah. I think I always focused on, finding the time to get things done. And it doesn't matter what time it would be, whatever time of the day makes it comfortable for you. Sometimes I would stay up until 2 a.m. working, or 3 a.m. working. Sometimes I wouldn't sleep at night, but during the day I would sleep, or, I would just have different schedules just based on when I could get things done. And so my advice would be, get the work done no matter when the time is, right? Like if you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work. So I really woke up every day loving to do what I was doing. And I would just spend a ton of time doing it. So my best advice would just be spend the time and get the work done during that time. Be efficient with your time, no matter what time of the day it might be, throughout your work week, or when you're learning and you guys are studying, just spend that extra time doing it. And it doesn't matter when it might be, fit it in wherever you can, and work really hard when you have that time.
Pasha, you got a question?
Yeah, sure. Mike, thanks for taking the time to join us in the classroom today. And apologies if this is a overly personal question, but a lot of the people in this room are in the most impressionable stages of their life, right? They're taking a lot of advice from a lot of people and trying to juggle and see what's appropriate. Someone like yourself, I'm sure a lot of people told you that gaming wasn't a career, or gaming wasn't something that you could do, right? How do you juggle the sense of, okay, I have a passion for this and I know that this is something I can do, while also accepting advice and not doing it by yourself, and kind of, trusting yourself and your gut and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, don't listen to what other people really have to say too much if it's something that you disagree with. It's okay to disagree with other people's opinions, but I would say be very open-minded. I think you can, as long as you're open-minded, you can always get a different perspective at the very least, and you don't have to agree with what other people are giving you advice to do. But listen to it, at least process it, and be open to hearing everybody's advice, and then take the time to decide if it's advice you want to take or not. And I think that when you said that everyone here is at an impressionable time of your lives, I mean, it certainly is, right? Like, you guys probably all have a lot of pressure to figure out what you want to do as a career, and what schools, universities you might want to go to, or what activities you participate in. All of those things can weigh you down, and it's a lot of pressure. But just be open-minded about it all. But I would say just trust your instincts too. That's, I think, the one thing that's really helped propel me to where I am in my industry is I always kind of trusted what I felt inside. It's not whenever you get an instinct like that person's wrong or that person's right, I should really try and do that. Trust that first instinct that you usually get, and try to muddle out a lot of the noise that is around you. Make a decision for yourself.
Who else has a question for Mike? That's great answer.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay. For me, I love E-League and stuff like that. I want to do E-League, but I'm kind of a little bit nervous. I know my skills aren't the best and everything like that. When you started doing E-League for the first time, were you really nervous, or were you cool and calm and collective?
It was definitely, there were some nerves for sure. I mean, there wasn't, when I was playing Call of Duty, for example, starting in 2008, I mean, the first place prize to win the national championship, I would have made like $2,000, which wasn't really, that's not enough to support yourself, through all the tournaments, I participated in. I was, on one of the top 4 ranked teams pretty much those first 2 years of professional Call of Duty. We really could make about $10,000 a year, and that's not a lot of money. I mean, you can't really survive off of that. And so there was a lot of pressure because it was tough, and you had a lot of people saying, hey, that what are you doing, Mike? This isn't a real clear path for you as a career. But I enjoyed it so much, and I had the instinct that this would be much bigger someday as I saw more people want to watch me play video games, want to see me play Call of Duty to learn from me, or to start cheering for our team. So yeah, I mean, it's you're going to have a lot of pressure on you, and to kind of figure out what that is that you really want to do. But I would say you just got to tune out the noise sometime and go for it. You just have to shoot your shot, so to say. If you doubt yourself, you think you don't have the skill, you'll probably never get it. The only way to get it is to believe that you can get it.
Nice. Who else?
I have a question to ask.
Go ahead.
So if you're like an independent player, what's the best way to get recognized by any big group or team to pick you up?
Yeah, there's no easy way to go about it. I get that question all the time, right? There's no easy way to get people to watch you. You can sit there and say, I have skill, I'm the best player in the world all day long, but nobody might, the outlets for you to get watched or discovered are very few. So there's no easy way. The only way to do it is to really start participating. If you want to be a player in esports specifically, start playing in tournaments right away. Start playing in leagues right away. Doesn't matter what level they're at, right? You have to start at the bottom and then you work your way up. And when you start at the bottom and you start working your way up, people start recognizing you and talking about you. And that happens in traditional sports too, even at like the youth soccer level, let's say, or the youth baseball or football level. When you start displaying skill, if you truly deserve to be a professional player eventually, your skill will start showing as you climb the ranks. And at some point you have to make the decision though, right? If you aren't progressing very fast and you find that you have a ceiling, you don't want to continue to do something that you feel like you can't do. So when you do get that instinct that says, oh man, maybe I'm really just not prepared or probably can't do this long term, I'm putting my all into it right now and I'm just not getting there, then it's okay to switch up. It's okay to pivot into something else. Always have a backup plan. That's a big one. Always have a backup plan when you're chasing a dream. Okay. It's important to do that. Even if you're so confident you're going to get there, always have something else that you can fall back on. That's important.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was there a point or multiple points where you just wanted to give up and be done?
Yeah. Plenty of times. Good question. Yeah, good question. There are times where you're going to feel immense pressure or a little depression, or you're just going to feel like you're just not, the world is against you some days, right? Like it's going to happen. So what you got to do is just be tough. You got to be really resilient in any industry, really. If you really want to make it to the top of any industry in business or in art or technology, whatever it is, you have to be resilient and tough, and it's okay. You're going to have some bad days, they're going to be rough days. That's just life. So, the best thing you can do every day, especially in a time like this, is just wake up and be tough, and accept that not every day is going to go your way. Not everything is going to happen the way you see it, and stay positive. I've always tried to keep a smile on my face, and everybody who knows me, when they see me at events and things, I mean, I'm always trying to just smile and spread joy, because life's a little too short. It's just take on those rough days as hard as you can, and just know that you're on a path. And so no path is perfectly clear. No easy path no hard path is perfectly clear. You're going to have to jump over some things along the way to get to a beautiful destination, I guess, is the analogy.
Next.
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead, Yvonne.
So first, I'm going to say it is great meeting you. Never expected to meet the co-founder of Team MB. That's pretty cool. And secondly, I'm going to say, how directly do you keep your nerves, keep the nerves down? Because for me, I notice my skill deteriorates completely when I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And I notice when I'm in my prime, it's most of the time when I really am I'm kind of focused on directly one thing, but I can't figure out how to keep my nerves down no matter what. And I've been trying to figure out for the longest. I just want to ask a pro.
We work with our players on this all the time, man. Supernatural to be nervous. Even our professional players have nerves and get nervous. And so we've worked on this, and I can tell you some secrets. Really, mainly one is be prepared. If you're prepared, you don't really have many reasons to be nervous, right? So the best thing you can do if you have issues with nerves before you do something, take the extra time to be extra prepared. Prepare 50% more than you would normally. And then when you go into it, those nerves kind of go away because you're confident. You know what your game plan is. You know what you got. So the best thing you can do is spend the extra time being prepared, and it'll go a long way. Trust me. We spread that message with our players all the time, and that's why we win a lot of trophies, is because they understand that everything's fine when you're prepared.
Thank you for answering my question. I've been wondering for the longest.
Good. Next.
There's questions in the chat that haven't been answered.
Yeah, here, I'll read one here. Let's see. Hastr, when you first started out, who did you admire when you were climbing the ranks? I probably had quite a few different influences. I would say in the gaming industry, there was a guy named Fatality. His name was Jonathan Wendell. His gaming handle was Fatality, and he's like a really old pro gamer. He's just a little older than I am, but he was already kind of doing it big, back in like 2003 through 2006. And I was like, I want to do that. I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to, have a brand like he does and win a bunch of gaming tournaments and, start building it up, And so I followed Fatality's career a good bit. There's another player named Walshy. He played Halo, and Walshy and I are really good friends now. But I really looked up to him like the couple years before I became a pro gamer. He was the best Halo player in the world at the time, and was getting all these big endorsements. He was the first ever gamer sponsored by Red Bull. It was I guess I had a couple guys that I was watching, and I was kind of aspiring to be like that, and before you knew it, a few years later, I was sitting next to those guys, having a dinner with them because I was at their level now, in Call of Duty. So I got to know both of those guys really well over the years, but always try to find somebody in the industry that you are seeking to work in, and basically learn from their careers. Find the successful people in those industries and learn from them. Absolutely important. Right now, I'll tell you, these days, I follow the other sports team owners here in Dallas a little bit. So, people like Clark Hunt and Mark Cuban and the Jones family, owning the Cowboys. I get to have a lot of great conversations with people like Clark Hunt and some every now and then Mark Cuban and his people, and I get to learn a lot of the things that they're doing to boost their teams. And actually, it's funny nowadays. I actually got a call last night from one of the executives at the Dallas Mavericks trying to pick my brain and how we can collaborate with each other so they can get a younger audience, for the Mavericks. And so, it's really about finding people who are kind of blazing a path in the industry that you want to seek out and kind of follow what they're doing.
Hey, Coach Pathfinder, you it's great to hear Hastro's, who his role models were going up, and it just made me think about you when you were starting out. You've told me multiple times, Hastr0, as you were starting playing, as you were building out Army esports leagues and stuff, was someone you looked up to. All the kids here, this is their head coach. Him, Hastr0. Real quick, Coach, why did you look up to Hastr0 back then?
I think it was because I constantly would get like first rounded by him in some capacity on like a GB tournament or whatever. So it'd always be Mike or even Hex at the time was around in some ways. So like just to these OGs in the Call of Duty esports industry, and it was like those guys were always the guys that I looked up to. So for you as a Fatality or a Walshy or a T-Squared, and for me it was a Mike Hastr0 or a Hector Rodriguez or a Jason Lake, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You see any other ones in the chat, Hastr0, that interest you?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'll just keep reading down here.
I have a random one for you, Mike, if you would, just to kind of to help with something that I think that we talk a lot about from our side of things, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Please.
So one of the things that I think that we look a lot from the recruiting aspect is the social media accounts for different kids, right? How they interact on Twitter and what that looks like from an ownership perspective when we're talking about bringing someone onto a team. So my first question would be, when you look at potential players, is Twitter something, or Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those social media platforms something you use to really gain research? And do you review that stuff and make sure that somebody is good on that piece before you would consider them for your team?
Yeah, no, we definitely look at what players what players have been saying on their social media accounts, what their character's like. We definitely pay attention to character. It's really important. I think everybody here understands that in this world today with social media, you got to be kind of responsible. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we take into account. We definitely look at the character of players or staff members that are coming into our organization. I mean, it's important for our culture to have a dynamic that is coherent, with the overall culture. I mean, it's important to bring people into your team that fit into your team and somebody that's not going to be disruptive.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, my YTAC kids, one of the things that I've actually been doing is kind of going on those Twitters and the social media platforms and kind of looking around. So just, leading from example, Mike tells you, like, that's one of the first things that they look at is the social media profiles for their potential players or staff. So make sure you're being really intentional about what you're putting on the internet from that perspective. For sure,
and not just
definitely
not just if you're on a professional esports path. Employers do that now. That is a lesson for every path going forward. And many talented people have experienced many serious headwinds because of that factor. So it's something to learn and take to heart now. That's a good point.
Definitely. We don't go as far as to like complete background checks, but I will let you guys know that there's like, when a company or anybody performs a background check on you, there are background checks now that actually will like look through your social media. There's like software that will look through your social media for like red flags, which is pretty crazy stuff. But that's the world we live in today. So anything you put out on the internet, a future employer may be able to find. Just remember that.
Ponce, were you about to ask a question?
Yeah, if that's okay, if we have enough time.
Yeah.
Mr. Rufail, I had to read this book for my university writing class. It was like about social, I don't think you can see it because of the background, but like social media and technology and all this stuff. I had to write like a semester-long paper on some topic in the book. And the way the author describes video gaming in the book, it sounds like a lot of like other ways people describe it from like past generations, where they don't really compare it to traditional activities like chess or other sports, and they kind of have this mentality that like it's a waste of time or not meaningful. When like you're working with older generations of people, or like us as people who play video games, how do you recommend that we talk to those types of people to really show them that this is the future of things?
Don't waste your breath too much trying to convince those people is what I would say. It's just going to happen. Okay. It's just going to happen. And if it is something where if it's a situation where you do have to convince somebody, let's say it's a parent, someone like that, I think you just have to kind of express how much you care about it, and try to tell them like, look, or try to relate to them, create an analogy. If it's a parent who grew up in the 70s or 80s, maybe, it's like, how much did you care about, is there something you dreamed about? Did you love music? Ask them, put the question on them. Like, what did you care about growing up when you were young? What was it that you cared about that people told you was silly? It's like that, it's just something I care about, and tell them, explain to them how passionate you are. That's the best you can do.
Supposed to be at 4:30, the call.
And how do we learn how to mute ourselves after 9 months of COVID?
But I just joined
Zoom?
at 5.
Dylan.
Just right click on his name and mute him, please.
Look, one last question for you, Mike, and then
I'm in here.
Closing words.
Shut up.
Dylan. Holy cow, dude.
All right, make me a host and I'll mute him.
Ponce, do that. last question and then closing thoughts from you, Mike. Last question is, everyone here after the coding session and this classroom session goes over to their coaches under Pathfinder. And tonight is their first night after scrimming and doing all these things where they play a double elimination Rocket League tournament that's going to determine their positions over the next 2 weeks, where they're competing for cash and just overall dominance. And some of them are just starting. Some have been playing for a long time. This might be a large chunk of their first competition where they're waiting, quick playing. If they win, they go forward. A lot of nerves. Like what timely advice would you give them mindset wise for what's in front of them, a real pivotal night in the YTAC competition?
Oh yeah. I mean, it goes back to being prepared, right? Like just put in the time to try and practice a little bit, you know, and it sounds like it's something fun for you guys, but so enjoy it too. That's the key, you know. Try to enjoy what you're doing, make some fun out of it, make practice fun. You know, those are the things that will keep you interested. You know, if it becomes a task, if it is a task, then it's probably not something you want to keep pursuing. But if you truly enjoy it and you're happy and you feel good about it, then yeah, then it makes it easy. So yeah, I would just say put the work in, be prepared, and again, I'll reiterate it, stay positive the whole way. And if you can't stay positive, do something else that keeps you positive.
Well, that's amazing kind of closing thoughts anyway. Any final words from you to this group?
No, I mean, I would say, you know, keep your eyes on the prize at the end of the path, whatever that path is that you guys have, you know. Don't let people tell you can't really do something. If you think you can do it, trust your instincts. I'm kind of summarizing here. Trust your instincts and be prepared. I mean, when all those things are happening for you and you focus on those, your nerves will go away. They really will. They'll go away.